Good evening, Professor. Let's see. I guess I have some very general questions for this module. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Uh, One of my main questions that keeps popping in my head is about the difference between West Africa evolution when you compare it to South Africa and East Africa during the same time, especially South Africa. Um, Up to this very point, honestly, I have always had this picture of South Africa being relatively backwards when compared to European and Asian cultures during the same time. And it's interesting to find out that in the case of West Africa, at least so far, it seems that there were some very sophisticated civilizations at the time. Um, so I guess my question is very broad. I mean, when compared to the European kingdoms and Asian kingdoms, these kingdoms in West Africa, were they up to par? I mean, I understand they were behind, but were they during that specific period of time? Could they have recently stopped any conquest by the Europeans? I know that in the lecture you mentioned something that Europeans could not penetrate deep into West Africa because of the different disease. And I believe you mentioned something about it was until medicine had advanced itself that they were able to do that. So I guess my question, just to confirm that, were they technically and technologically unable to conquer that part of the world at the time? Which seems kind of different to what was going on in the Americas not soon after, and what happened in South Africa and East Africa later on. I'm just trying to get a broader picture there. Um, let's see. As far as the other stuff, the art in Benin and Yoruban Niger catches my attention because it seems very sophisticated too, in the same sense that it was going on. Just kind of curious if that's the only area they had the kind of sophistication, or just an example. I wasn't sure the difference there. Again, is that the main part where this kind of metal work was taking place, or were there other parts in Western or West Africa that had the same kind of capacity of making the same metal works? And connected to that is, did West Africans have the ability at the time to create metal plates similar to what was going on in in Asia and Europe? And let's see what else. The Shanghai Empire, West Africa. I had the one question that I keep getting to it was an Islamic empire, and then I noticed you mentioned something about the Sahara Desert seemed to be the big divider. So when the Moorish came and conquered them ethnically, I've always seen the Moorish as a more lighter North Africans when you compare to the Western Africans. They were the main people that actually came as slaves later on. So was there a very significant difference between the two different ethnicities, the Moorish and the Shanghai Empire, or were they later on blended into each other? And then, is there any information about Moorish, ethnic Moorish people coming as slaves to the Americas later on? Just kind of curious about that connection. Thank you, and that's it. I guess I'll talk to you next week.